Live. Hello, everybody. Sorry it took us a few minutes to get set up. Can you hear Dr. Leigh? She's trying to figure out the mic and making sure that everybody can hear her.
Why my audio's not working? Okay, so hey everybody. Yet again, I cannot hear. It's literally ridiculous, but
thank you, Steve.
So,
I appreciate you
Jamie,
donating.
maybe you could just get rolling there for a second, and I will.
Yeah, while you figure that out,
continue to publicly problem solve audio.
And yes, Steve, back in the day, it was at 6K, and we are right about at 60K subscribers. So that is wonderful. And hopefully we will get to 100K very soon. So that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Admit.
Hey.
Car.
Do you have music going?
Nope. Do you hear something in the background?
I did. I heard some weird music going. It sounds like they're working. Hey, everybody. I am so glad that I figured that out quickly. Okay, Jamie, happy Friday. We are in the house. I cannot believe there's some weird music. I thought you figured out how to add intro music. I was excited. I'm like, whoa, she's got music playing.
I did find some really cool thumbnails for us to add, so those are coming soon, and I can't wait to share them with you.
It was pretty wild. It was. I'll have to figure out what that music was because it was definitely in here. Hey, everybody! Thank you for joining us. And I know Jamie has some questions, but I just wanted to start with a couple of thoughts because I was just going through. Hey, Ty Ross in the house. Hey, Jay Plays. I was just going through some comments and I see that the new video that I put out on how to avoid lust or how to learn how to not lust was very popular. So that was really cool that it's hopefully, providing some value to you all. But it was funny because as I was reading some of the comments, and actually a few people emailed about the picture behind me to this side, somebody wrote that it looks like chicken nuggets because they are hungry, which just cracks me up. And then somebody else wrote that it looks like penises and that they know they have a porn addiction. But I thought that was funny. But the reason I bring it up is because people will email me and, say, I don't know, it always has to do with some sexual reference. Like, please don't have that picture in the back because it's too sexy. It has penises on it. And I will write back to people, those aren't penises. Those are trees. Stay with me in these videos and you will know your brain is healing when you no longer see penises and you see trees. And I thought it was funny that someone was hungry and, saw chicken nuggets. I'm like, definitely not chicken nuggets. We're taking questions. We're going to get into questions in just one second, but I wanted to just kind of address one more comment. There was a really beautiful comment from someone saying that they wish they could have personally met me when they were younger and how I would have impacted their life. And that was a really cool comment. So thank you. And it reminded me, and I don't even know if I shared this with Jamie, that my dad, who's 81, how I talk about my family here. I never say good things. So it's time for a good one, is that my dad, who's 81 years old, he left me a voicemail probably like 2 months ago saying that, and it's really cool. I have it in there. I have to figure out how to save it forever, that he wished he would have met me when he was in his late 30s or early 40s. And how much I would have impacted his life had he known me as me being an adult, him being an adult. And that comment reminded me. Isn't that really cool?
That is really powerful.
I know. I thought, and I try to. I live what I talk about here. I really do. I try to on a daily basis. I probably annoy Jamie all the time with the stuff that we talk about here. The action steps are ones that I take, and I thought it was really cool that my dad, can sense that. And he, put it out there. So I wanted to tell you one more thing is that I'm going to be jumping off a little early because my precious daughter, Fiona, has just texted me from school that she doesn't feel well, but it is important for me to be here for all of you. So I didn't want to bail, but at the same time, I also don't want to leave a sick kid in the nurse's office too long. And I have appointments that I'm going to have to get back for. So we'll be here for at least a half hour. And then, we always go late. So hopefully you'll extend some grace to me on a day where I have to bounce out a little early and Jamie can stay here and button things up. But I also want to share just one more nugget about that, and then we'll jump into questions, is that I try to live a life of flow like I teach in my 90-day program. And the essence of, keeping your brain in that middle speed so that you can create the life that you want. And flow to me is I'm on purpose in my work and I make a plan for my day, but I try not to stress out when those plans change. And with so many kids, the plans change for me just about always. And so that's part of flow, being able to go, you know what, I have to massage and finesse my schedule for the day to be able to serve the people in my life. And, I know some people don't think they should serve their children. I totally believe that I should serve my children and that my children should serve me. And that makes us a happy family when we have needs. Okay, so
let's truly do. I'm just going to, say something about that, because one day I had to take my daughter to the doctor and I was like, I'll take my computer and I'll work. And Dr. Leigh said, no, you be intentional about being there with your daughter. So, I really am inspired by the things that she even tells me. So, we are not perfect. So just know that we are human and, we all have things that we need to work on. So that was beautiful.
Imperfect action. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Cool. All right, let's dig in. What do we have in terms of questions?
All right. So a couple questions that were actually about lust. But I had one great question. Can you talk about the process of brain training in detail?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely can. So I always encourage people to get the Muse headband. I do not sell that, but we have a link. It's an affiliate link, but we have a link that you can get 15% off the Muse headband and purchase it directly from the manufacturer with this link. And it ends up being $212 United States. I think usually on average it is right now. I don't know what it is, but on average.
It's $198 when I checked last week.
Okay, cool. So that's a good price. So that if you purchase that headband, what you can do is start training your brain. And what I'll do is I'll tell a story from someone that I talked to this week in a consultation. And I think the story will tell you how it works and how this person and how you can benefit from it. So this gentleman who struggles with pornography addiction and lack of intimacy in his relationship and all the stuff we talk about, lust, all the stuff we talk about on this channel, got the headband. I've never talked to him personally till this week. Got the headband and started using it. And he said, lusting has gone down. His ability to not go back to porn, his ability to get over urges has increased. That's what it does for you. And I'll tell you how in just a second, but it makes it so that when you say, okay, I'm going to go for this, I'm not going to go back to porn, you're literally able to much more easily. Withdrawal symptoms go down, your ability to get over urges and cravings, stop lusting, get on purpose in your work, have more intimacy. So this gentleman said his wife is using it also, and it's helping to bring her anxiety down. So they're able to kind of meet in the middle. So it's really important that it will do those things for you. The way that it works is when you put the headband on, there are 5 sensors that go across your frontal lobe, 2 sensors that are above your ears in the temporal lobes. Now, the reason that is especially important for people on this channel is the frontal lobe becomes deactivated, underactive when you consume pornography. That's here, the frontal lobe. 5 sensors work in that frontal lobe for you. The temporal lobes are more towards the upper level of your brain, but they connect directly into that reward center that I'm always talking about. So when you train using that headband, you are in fact reactivating and resensitizing the reward center. It will do exactly for your brain what you want it to do. Whoa, David, I see a major donation, which I totally appreciate. So it jumped up at me and I just wanted to say that, but I will get back to that. So what happens is when you're using the headband, you are bringing your brain into that middle speed of calm focus, out of anxiety mode, out of overdrive, hyperarousal that makes you want to go back into the screen, and out of the speed of overwhelm. So it's bringing you into the middle. So literally it's like a workout for your brain. And you can literally just think about it as like, 20, depending upon how strong you are, 20-pound dumbbells that you're using. And if you use 20-pound dumbbells on your brain once a day, twice a day, your brain becomes stronger. You reactivate the frontal lobe. Now, what's the experience like? The experience is a soundscape. So you can pick what kind of sounds you want to listen to. I always pick the ambient noise. I like it. I get the best sessions and I like it the most. But you can pick a beach, you can pick a rainforest, you can pick a fire. And when your brain is in the zone and it's calmer and more focused, it sounds calm. When it sounds chaotic, your brain's out of that zone. And it's literally like bicep curls for your brain going from active to calm within a session. And if you use it, your brain functioning will improve. And I have a short program. It's $49 where I explain all of this. I show you what the graphs look like. And how you're getting a good session, because I could spend the rest of this session just talking about brain training. I'm going to say one more thing about the programs that we offer. I told you that the programs are donations for our nonprofit. So that's important for me to let you know. But people reach out to us. We get a lot of emails that Jamie's been answering for me. We get a lot of emails that say, I struggle with this, I struggle with that. Can you help me? Yes, I can help you. I'm here trying to help you on YouTube for free. And that's important to me, really important. That's why I'm here. Fiona's in the nurse's office. But at the same time, for me to truly help people that have big issues that have been plaguing them for a long time, the best way to do that is to get into a program. The smaller programs that we offer don't have personal contact with me, but they have digital content of me, not stuff on YouTube, in an organized fashion from start to finish. The bigger programs, you get personal contact with me. And in the biggest one, we work together as a team individually. So there's levels of service there for you. But, at the same time, it's important that if you really need help, a program is the best thing for you. That's not a sales. That's just the essence of it. I know that in my own world, when I need help with something, first I'll go to YouTube, but then if I really need help, I have to hire someone that helps me figure it out. And that's just the deal. Okay, let's keep going here.
So David, thank you so much for that. I'm trying to look at both of your questions. So the first one, I started to embrace the JOMO. By the way, I'm on day 90. Congratulations. No, I'm going to treat myself with vanilla cone from my local Dairy Queen store today. But that doesn't seem to be the question that I'm thinking. If you don't mind typing in that question one more time, that would be
maybe
the other parts of the question.
Yeah, I know, David, that's awesome. So being able to reward yourself is really important. And you're right, going out of your way to reward yourself for the accomplishments, it will keep working, totally working. So keep moving in the right direction. Let's see, I'm scrolling back. I see that SM Hassan, wants me to use the letter P instead of the word porn because it's triggering. And I just want to address that. I try really hard, and actually I've just developed a way of speaking that I feel is non-triggering. And it's really hard for me to talk about porn without saying porn. And I don't want to filter myself by saying the P word all the time. I have adapted it so that most of the time I say the screen or I say the easy button. So I am aware of that. But at the same time, we need to be able to talk about what we need to be able to talk about. And you will be able to gauge yourself in terms of how you are progressing. So I am very aware, and I try not to be triggering all the time, but at the same time, I don't want to have to overly filter myself all the time, because the message gets lost if I'm, worrying. I've spent my entire professional life being politically correct. I still am, but I need to touch upon the concepts. But I'm sensitive to that. And hopefully you see that, because I use the word as minimal as possible. But, I know some people put it out there without using the word. I think it needs to be said so that you can remember what we're dealing with. Sometimes I even think that I am watering it down so much that the essence of it has come out of it. And that, it really is very harmful for everything that's in it, not, just for the watered down version that I give. So I agree with you. At the same time, I'm trying to be sensitive, but at the same time, get the message across. Okay, let's hear the question.
So this is the question, Dr. Leigh. I can't get over the fetish about high heels. I think that's one of the last things I need to ditch out of my system.
Okay, David, great question. And fetishes is a big question that a lot of people have. And actually, I just recorded a podcast with a sex addiction therapist and author, Alexandra Katihakis. Her video kept being sketchy, so I won't be able to put the video on YouTube, but it'll be at the podcast Porn Reboot next week. And we will put the audio, but it'll have to have just a picture on it because our video went out. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because I was kind of asking her, and we never dug in enough, but about, quote unquote fetishes. Fetishes are part of your arousal template. And I'm going to tell you what she shared, and I'm going to springboard off of that some of my own thoughts. What we were discussing is that if a fetish, a particular act or scene or body part, or if something is really high on your particular arousal template, that's when it becomes a quote unquote fetish. Now, some of them, this is the part I wish we would have explored more, some of them just aren't healthy. And this goes back to, using the P word is really just low level stuff, considering what most people are consuming, genres and acts. Most of it is violent. So you can't incorporate anything that's just totally unhealthy into a healthy sex life. But high heels, you can. And so when I work with people, I say to them, find a way to incorporate it, because it's in your arousal template. You don't want to ignore that. And plus, you've built those neural pathways over years or decades, and that's what your brain wants and needs to become highly aroused. But you can't be consuming that with every single person that you see. You have to follow the lust strategies from the latest video. And in those moments when you're out in the world and you see all different people wearing high heels, backing that out so that you're not getting the dopamine hits from every single woman who walks by with high heels. That finding a way to incorporate it into hopefully a healthy sex life with a partner, and using high heels as foreplay or using it to build arousal within a relationship that you actually care about. And I work with a lot of people very successfully with this very strategy, making it so that it doesn't consume your sexual experiences, but that it's balanced. And I will tell you, the men that I've worked with who have to kind of back out a fetish to the level that it's incorporated into a healthy sex life have to learn how to integrate it into healthy sex and not just get dopamine hits all over the place. But so what I want to tell you too is that high heels are literally designed to be arousing. No woman in the entire world, unless she's attempting to feel sexy, is wearing high heels for the comfort. Don't get me wrong, I own a lot of them. And when we go out, I'm wearing them because when we go out, I want to feel dressed up. So, they're there to make me feel good. They're not there for the comfort of my feet, for sure. And so, and so they're designed to catch people's eyes and to make you look sexy. But again, if that's within a whole person and it's being integrated, then, they're doing what they're designed to do. But bringing that, and if you really have a fetish and you're getting dopamine hits from it, more so than the average healthy brain would be, then you have to look away, use those strategies in the lust video, but get some fun play with high heels going in your sex life. Now, and I don't know if David would be willing to comment, but I'm going to just keep going on this one, is that if your partner isn't into whatever fetish you have, because a lot of times partners don't know how important it is to you. And this is what Alexandra Katihakis said, and I loved it, because I tell people this and they don't want to hear it, or it's hard to hear it and it's hard to do it. Communication with your partner about what your arousal template is the way through this. So when you tell your partner, you know what, I really dig heels, can we get some heel play going? Or whatever thing it is, any healthy fetish can be incorporated, even ones that seem extreme. And again, we talked about this on the podcast that, you know, if you and your partner agree on this particular act or thing being integrated, not dominating the sexual experience, but being integrated, it can really be fun and healthy for both partners. But you have to let your partner know, this is the most arousing thing for me. Let's get it going. And then if your partner's into that too, your partner will become aroused knowing you're aroused. So it really can feed the situation. So I hope that helps you think about it, but you definitely can incorporate that into a healthy sexual relationship. Okay, do you have, I'm just gonna, thank you, David. I'm glad you're listening. If you have any other thoughts on that, incorporate it in, my friend. It will work. Beauchamps, you know it. Dark chocolate, my friend. It is really a good way out. And you're totally right, Artem. Obsession with high heels is a social construct. But I say this to my husband all the time, because as you can probably guess, I am a thinker. I like to think. So I said to my daughter yesterday, because I had a good idea. My daughter's 11. I'm like, I just had a great idea. Where was that idea before? Like, literally, where was it? And she's like, I've heard you say this a million times, Mom. So at the same time, I say to my husband, I'm like, why do I got to put makeup on? Why do I have to spend time doing my hair when you just get to jump out of the shower and we both roll? And we both roll out. He rolls out into the world just like that. He prips his hair a little, but I've got to spend, a half hour getting myself ready so that we can go out. And it is because it's a social construct. So you know what? I can go against it. I can go, damn the man, I'm not putting makeup on. I'm not doing my hair. I'm not wearing jewelry. I'm not wearing heels because I will not be objectified. But at the same time, life is too short to be so serious about everything. So as long as I'm keeping it at healthy levels, and a really cool thing Alexandra Katihakis said is to track yourself. Don't track your partner and don't track other people. I wrote it down, but you know how after you listen to hopefully my videos or somebody else, like later on, one thing will pop into your brain and that's like your one takeaway. Track yourself was a really big takeaway. And so like if I'm, out there and I'm dressed up and I'm feeling confident and feeling good, but I'm not overly sexualizing myself and I'm not out there trying to bait every man into looking at me, then I'm in integrity. So then if you walk into a room and you check me out and then you're like, yeah, she looks great, and then you move on and you're not sexualizing me, then we're both in integrity and life is good. And that's how you do it. My husband said last night too, he's like, you really are like, because my husband likes fancy things. So I end up going fancy places with fancy people and I can totally rock a fancy place, but he's so funny. He's like, you really are just a normal person. I'm like, thank you, I think. I go, dude, I can rock a room more than anybody. I said, you've seen me. I confidently walk into any room. Even I don't want to be in most of the rooms. And even the ones, especially the ones I don't want to be in, I said, I can own that room. He's like, yes, you do. And he's like, but you don't need to be there. I'm like, that's exactly right. That's why I can rock that room. So I thought it was pretty funny. Okay.
That's interesting you say that, because my daughter said the same thing to me. Mom, why do you put on makeup? You're beautiful without it. And I'm like, it makes me feel good. And, I'm not trying to impress anybody because I'm married. I'm happily married, but it makes me feel good. And I'm going to continue.
Yeah, totally.
So,
and it's funny because when my friends and I walk into a room, be like, we're there for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And then, if other people, and I appreciate whole people when they walk in, and women and men, so it's getting to that place.
Okay.
Addie wants to know if a reboot can take 2 years. Again, I talked to Alexandra Katahakis about this yesterday too, so you should really check out next week's podcast. But I said, what's the time frame? What are you going to say on that one? Because people always want to know what the time frames are. And she said the time frame can be as short as you want it to be. The more things you do, the shorter it is. And that's exactly how I think about it. I always say change as much as humanly possible in your physical and mental environment, and you will end up getting the changes that you want faster. So it can take a lifetime if you don't get 100% committed. It can be much, much, much shorter. So yes, it can take 2 years, but if you watch the videos, you implement the brain tip strategies, and especially if you get into a program, that you're going to shave off that time frame.
Absolutely. I have a question from Sal, and I'm going to shorten it a little bit, but he is on medication, and one of the side effects is retrograde ejaculation, which he's been experiencing ever since he's been on it. This will continue as long as he's on this medication, and as you can imagine, it takes some of the pleasure out of it. Basically, he is saying when he gets involved in a relationship, he's wondering how his female partner would feel about not having normal ejaculation.
Okay, this is great. Yeah. And one of my coaching clients whom I adore, who actually was on the podcast too, and in a previous episode, he and I have gone back and forth via email about this very idea this week. So it's right on the top of my brain. Is that, again, if you track yourself and you're not totally worried about tracking your partner, it will be healthier for your brain. Performance anxiety comes from consuming a lot of pornography because, you're watching performances. So then you end up getting this framework of that this sexual experience is a performance that's being kind of watched and graded. And when a woman wants to be with you, she just wants to be with you. She wants it to be fun experience. There are no high marks in a fun sexual experience. You can have, weird experiences and it still be fun. So one thing I want to encourage you to do is to get your mind and your brain back into the present on the experience, not necessarily like, how standard it is or how it compares to, what you've seen in porn. And she might not care at all because that's definitely the ejaculation part is not the part women are worried about. Yeah. Women are worried about all the stuff that comes before that. So if you're doing a lot of fantastic stuff in foreplay and building arousal and being intimate and being connected and all that wonderful physical stuff, that's definitely not going to impact the experience for a woman. But I get that your mind is on it. So what is important? So when it comes to differences in ejaculation because of medication, that's different because medication is changing the way that your brain works. It's not healing it. It's medicating it. It's actually, my husband started watching some movie last night called Side Effects with Jude Law. Actually, it had a A-list cast, but I didn't see it. So I don't know if it's good or not, but it was like firing him up and he was getting all angry, which he was slightly angry in the first place. And I'm like, dude, I definitely don't want to watch TV this with you. But the idea is that's a side effect because it's lowering the energy in your brain. So you might just endure that because it might not change. What I wanted to talk about, that kind of springboarding off of that, is what my client and I were talking about is premature ejaculation, because he has been on a really awesome reboot journey for months now. So then now when he's with a partner, with a woman, he is aroused very quickly, very highly. And so he's like, this is crazy because I used to be able to last a long time. Now it's embarrassing. I can't even last a minute. And that's good. That means his brain is rewiring. That means his reward center in his brain is healing itself. And he's thrilled with the progress that he's made, because especially if you suffer from erectile dysfunction or the beginnings of erectile dysfunction or delayed ejaculation, which is what happens on the beginning side of a porn brain reboot or is a side effect of consuming porn, you can appreciate the fact that now you're so stimulated by an actual human being that you have premature ejaculation. But also know that as you keep practicing a healthy sexual experience with a partner, that's going to change too. And you're going to hit a rhythm as your brain rewires. So the part with the retrograde is that your brain isn't rewiring itself, it's being dampened. So you'll have to deal with it in a way that I first described. Don't see it as a performance, and your partner's not going to care as long as all the stuff before that is enticing and engaging.
So we have one from Gabe. Thank you for donating. We are very grateful for that. I keep making one excuse I keep making for myself is not get on a streak because I think the withdrawal symptoms will lower my immune system and will make me less able to fight COVID if I catch it.
Yeah, Gabe, this is a really great question. Thank you for posing it because I've really never talked about this. So, okay, so I want to tell you, your thinking is backwards, and that should make you feel good. But of course, I'm going to explain it. Is that when you're consuming pornography and it's knocking out the energy and the activity in your frontal lobe, your immune system is actually more compromised because your brain isn't functioning well. Withdrawal symptoms happen because your brain's performance pattern is in fact improving. So you feel junky because now your brain's working better and it has to rewire itself back from the damaged performance pattern you've been using. So it's actually the flip side of that. And I should totally make a video on how consuming porn makes you more at risk for COVID. And I will actually, I'm gonna have to see if there's any stats on that, but I know that the stats for anxiety impacting people's immune system and making them more susceptible to COVID and then overcoming COVID, that is already shown and proven for all illnesses, for cancer, for anything. The list could go on. But so the point is, it's actually backwards. If you get on a streak, you might have to struggle through withdrawal symptoms, but it's because your brain is healing itself. And as your brain heals itself, you will be better able to fight off COVID if you're exposed to it. And if you get it, you will heal more quickly. So reverse that thinking because that's the truth.
Well, I know it's getting close to time for you to have to
let's
go.
keep going here. Okay. Let's see.
So one question that was sent to me in email, and he was really adamant, it was the speaking about lust and sexualizing and ways to avoid it. I know that you talked about the brain training, and that is a really good way to do that. But do you have any other
ways to get over lusting people?
Lust and sexualizing,
and objectifying and sexualizing people.
Yes, and how to avoid it.
It has to become a framework shift. And everything we've talked about so far, even including, keep going on the wrong side, the penis trees, it goes back to, it's a framework shift on how you approach life. That's why I always say that my programs are actually an optimal performance pattern or optimal performance programs that you get the benefit of no longer needing to consume pornography, because the more you go back to something, the more you get of it. That's why if you're trying to lose weight, you don't think about not eating. You think about eating healthy, because if you think about not eating, you get more of thinking about eating. So the idea is that you have to shift your whole framework. So when you start thinking about your work and you're super jazzed up about what you have going on in your own life and you're tracking yourself, when you're jazzed up about your relationships, and especially if you can build a healthy sexual relationship and you can think about that and wanting sex in that capacity, and then building intimacy with the other people in your life, and then doing the hobbies that you love, your brain's filled with all this other stuff. It doesn't need to check people out for a dopamine hit. It's starting to get it in your world. And it goes back to the addictive cycle of pornography consumption. Your brain looks for dopamine because it's learned the dopamine is in sex, whether it's checking someone out, watching the screen, webcams, whatever you've taught your brain, that's where the dopamine is. So in your framework shift, you're teaching your brain the dopamine's in the world. Dopamine's in my work. Dopamine's in rebuilding my basement. We're having our basement redone right now. You can probably hear the dudes down there. My husband's been so psyched about that. He spent a week thinking he's going to spend a month thinking about it, but right now they're demoing it. That's the thing on his mind right now, is how, what he's going to do in the basement.
Make it a man cave.
Making it a man cave. Which actually it's cool because he's making it a man cave for connection, not for isolation. Because I know many of you out there are thinking man cave, don't say that word, that's triggering, and it can be. But I told you, or I think I've shared this before. We have a pool table literally in our living room. We put it there for COVID, and it's time to adios the pool table. I'm like, babe, we gotta adios that pool table. And my daughter and her boyfriend were living in the basement. They've left, so the basement is now open, and pool table's going down there. The dartboard is in the living room. The basketball hoop's in the living room. All those things will be going downstairs so that, connection will be happening down there. So that's a cool thing. It's a place of connection. But I
thought it was really cool that it was in the living room because it was, I was like, this is awesome.
It is really cool. Everybody played it during COVID, but now it's like collecting dust. And, nobody plays it because they're back in school and all that. So I'm like, let's get it down in the basement. So, changing your framework. Jamie, I'm going to jump in here and answer a couple questions quickly,
okay.
Integrating a few, if that's okay. One from Michael Grasso wants to know if I can quantify the difference between just looking at women, looking at nude women, looking at porn, the difference between hardcore videos. And, somebody else wanted to know if henty's bad. So it really is individualistic too, but the reality is the more intense acts and scenes, the more intense. That's why just pictures are less damaging to the brain than videos, because videos are live action. Then videos that incorporate a lot of intensity are worse than softer videos. And when you increase, that is in fact more damaging. And I've talked about that in the edging video, that if you are moving up from softer to harder to weirder to more intense to more violent, you're moving in the wrong direction. And the wrong direction means they are more dopamine producing. And I talked about this last week. I think that supernormal stimuli exist on a continuum. So, porn being the most of the highest of the supernormal stimuli, the more hardcore and intense it is, the more stimulating it is, more dopamine produced. So then you can scale that all the way back to just seeing images. You would come down from this hardcore intense, then to softer, then to movies that have sex scenes, then to Instagram where people are not clothed, then to Instagram where they're clothed, but they're just being sexy. Then, on this continuum from 1 to 10. And so, but personally, you might get more dopamine hits from something than somebody else. So becoming aware and self-awareness is so important in this whole journey.
I want to piggyback off of that because I was speaking with a gentleman yesterday, and he was literally in tears because he's saying that he is having thoughts that he never thought he would ever have about, men. And, he said that this is scaring him because, this is something that he really is, he wants a marriage and a family. And so, having these images are really upsetting him. And so
yeah, definitely. And I wanted to get into that. Yeah, I wanted to get into that with Alexandra Katihakis, but, we were kind of having technical difficulties. And I asked her, about the fetish, going back to David's question, what about when arousal template becomes skewed? And, she kind of brought it back to incorporating fetishes. But what I meant, but then I let it go, is that I talked to so many men that are aroused by men, and that's new. We've talked about that same-sex attraction, OCD, without the discussion of the P word, is out there. And, I talk to men all the time. They're like, I don't even know what is going on. I don't think I'm gay, but, I want to keep going back. That's the dopamine. So that's bad for your brain. It means, like, especially when you know you don't want to go back, but you find yourself having to. And again, I talked to another really sweet gentleman this week, and you might not even know that it was him that made this impact on me. But he said he had a really long streak, and then he's like, I broke it. And he's like, it's crazy because I planned it. He goes, I don't understand how I could plan to break a streak. He's like, I know I need help because I was so excited. He went like 200 days and was so thrilled about the streak, but then he planned a relapse. That's the hijacker. I just answered someone's question on, and I think it was probably a woman's question on the YouTube channel, saying that, when you try to talk to a man about this stuff, he can't engage in the conversation. That's because you're talking to the hijacker. The hijacker is not going to respond. He doesn't want to be booted out. That's what addiction is. So if you really are struggling with this stuff at the level of addiction, it is tricky. That's why I say it's sleuthy. It is trying to con you at all times. And then when it does con you, it cons your partner. And I've developed a little bit of a radar for that when I work with people, because I can tell when I'm talking to the healthier version of that person, and on another given day when that person shows up and they're more hijacked. That's the essence of the addictive cycle before you can boot that hijacker out of the car and grab the reins on the situation. Let's see. Wet dreams are okay. I see somebody already put it in there. That's your body purging it. So good question.
Anya says, please tell me how to start No Flap Remedy, because I try to minimalistic and scenes that try to reframe mobile use, but I still get down in a day or so. Please help.
Yep. Then you need to create. Oops. I just did something on accident. Sorry. I shouldn't say need to. I encourage you to create structure and discipline. Discipline comes out of structure. And I just got done. I was saying earlier that I just got done recording the Control Your Brain program for my Dr. Trish Leigh website, which is still not up, but it should be very soon. So I've been recording a program for the last couple of days. And, in the program, it's ironic because I talk about the structure. When you set up a structured life and then you create discipline around keeping that structure in place, that's the vigilance that you have to develop in the end. And it's really cool when you do it. Of course, every time I record a program, my structure breaks down. I've got like bags like you wouldn't believe. I'm tired. I couldn't sleep 2 nights this week because my brain's like on fire. And it's so ironic because every time I record a program, I'm like, dude, get back to back to the structure. And I inevitably end up saying it in one of the recordings, because I put on Instagram last Sunday 2 Sundays ago, where I got 98% calm. That 98% calm on my Muse headband came out of the structure of the week before. It came out of someone has a question about HALT. It came out of not allowing myself to become hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. I went to bed early. I got up early. I ate clean. I worked out. And maybe Jamie can find that person's name, but I can't remember who wrote it. But just to answer your question, saying that I can't avoid a life of high stress. Yes, you can. You might not be choosing to right now, but it's really important for me to let you know that it is, in fact, always a choice. And I think of this myself because I am such an achiever. Oh, I found it. It's The Path who wrote that, is that, I have made big changes in my life that were very difficult to make. I've left relationships. I've created rifts in other relationships. I've done lots of other things, but it's always because it's never sound like I'm like a homewrecker out there. I'm not. What my point about that is that I have gotten quiet and intentional, and I've been able to make difficult decisions for myself, leaving jobs that I loved for something else because there was too much stress, leaving relationships that were just too stressful, putting other relationships, in arm's length away, so that I can keep myself in a position where I keep the stress down to a minimal level where I can thrive. So, I had a very stressful job. I had to leave it because I could stay in it forever, but it would make it so that I was where the path is, that life is just guaranteed to be stressful. The reality is you can create a life that's guaranteed to be minimally stressful, but you have to be intentional about it. And you have to break the transmission of intergenerational junk, as I call it. And I talked about this in the program that I was recording, is that in my family, I have 5 brothers and sisters. In my family growing up, and I think about this a lot, is that if you talk to my brothers and sisters, hopefully none of which are on this live right now, is that they are glad to be so stressed out. They don't mean to be, but you talk to them, you're like, hey, how's everything going? Oh, work's awful. The kids are challenging, this, that, the other thing. We're just conditioned to do that. We were literally conditioned to see that there's never enough time, never enough money, never enough energy, and that the badge of honor is to keep grinding and not let yourself relax and not let yourself chill. So I literally still on a moment by moment basis have to condition myself out of that thinking. And so when you do that, that's the whole point of everything I say here. When you create a life that you thoroughly enjoy, you don't have to escape it. And you literally will have no need. Time and space. Give yourself the time and space. Recovery means recovering your authentic self. Recovery, and this is a recovery journey. We all should be in it. You're recovering the self in there that you realize what you want. And again, I talked about this in the podcast. Differentiation of self is one of the most powerful ways that you can move through this. Figure out who you are and be proud to be that person. My oldest daughter, who's a total trip, she's probably very much like me, but just in a different way. She's very different from our whole family. And, it was slightly challenging to parent her, but at the same time, like, so cool, because she never cared what anybody thought about her. Never, ever. And I just read, again, I keep reading The Power Now. I just keep picking it up, that the people who are different and the people who are weird and it doesn't bother them, they're the ones who actually are ahead of the road in enlightenment, because we're all caught in the matrix. I said that to my husband yesterday. I'm like, which one's good? Is it good to be in the matrix, or is it good to be not in the matrix? The matrix, I think, is the one where you're caught up in the illusions of society. Okay, so let's wrap up with, get off your phones, get a lockbox. If you can't get off your phone at night, especially, put it in a lockbox, lock that baby up till the morning. Exactly. Ditching, stay on track with your streaks. Stay on this channel. I've been making daily videos in hopes of being able to make 5 of them, because a lot of people reach out to me and they're like, instead of going back to the screen, I watch your videos, and that's motivated me to try to make videos every day. And we're trying to stay on track with that. So we're here. This is a community. Think about how cool this community is. Shelby works for me, and she posted on Instagram, because we're over 4 million views on this channel. We have 10,000 podcast downloads. Shelby always puts them out for me, and then I add some comments a couple minutes later when I see that she's posted it. So, she's like, woohoo, look what, basically like, look what I did. And I'm like, no, I'm not celebrating my accomplishment. What I want to celebrate is how amazing this community is that's building itself, and that I'm so proud to be part of it and to be championing the cause. And I'm so psyched that people are listening. That's what I wanted to share with the 4 million views. And it's really exciting. And even though I did tell my son, Seamus, who is a wee bit of a doubter in the fact that I'm a YouTuber. All right, I know that's a stretch, but I'm like, dude, I'm a YouTuber. And he's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, dude, I've got stuff on YouTube. Makes me a YouTuber. And then my daughter's boyfriend calls me a micro niche internet celebrity. And I'm like, that is hysterical. But I said, when we hit the 100,000 subscriber mark, this community, I told Seamus that he has to take a picture of me with the plaque. And then I'm going to get somebody else to take a picture of him taking the picture of me with the plaque. So too funny. So I'm really proud to be here. And I'm so excited to be able to help people, because people email us every day. Okay, Jamie, got any wrap up?
Yeah, go ahead and wrap up. I know
Okay,
you
so
need
I'm
to.
going to bounce. Jamie can stay and button up anything for a minute or two. If there's anything to be buttoned up, I'm going to get dear Fiona because she has, in fact, texted me again. Um, just one more thing, David, because I do appreciate your big contribution. I always thought it was a 2,000 piece puzzle. It's not, but look how it does stick out. It's trees. And let me tell you, I think I shared it once on a live, but let me share it again. I just told Jamie this the other day.
Yeah, I was about to say, please share that.
That what I like about this picture, and it goes back to what I try to tell people in terms of training their brain. You can train your brain by getting into nature. Schumann's resonance is at 7.83 hertz. So when you go out into nature, and especially if you sink your toes into the sand or into the ground, or if you sit up against a tree and you hug a tree, that's the essence of these trees, is that Schumann's resonance is at 8 hertz, 7.83 hertz. When your brain is being hijacked, your brain is in a combination of very fast hertz and very slow hertz. Fast anxiety mode is 30, 35 hertz, 40, 45 hertz, very fast. You can feel that in your internal state. That's what hyperarousal is, and you need the edge taken off. So instead of going into the screen, you can go outside and sit next to a tree that resonates at 7.83 hertz, and it will bring that energy down for you in a healthy way. It's a healthy coping mechanism. And at the same time, trees have been proven to have an infrastructure and an architectural structure under the ground that all the root systems in the world are connected, basically. So that represents my connection to you, no matter where you are in the world. And I've always thought this way before I even knew you, that we're all connected and the trees are all connected. And we can go out of our way to connect ourselves by being in nature and recognizing that our energy, our brain's energy, is very much like that of the trees. And we can share our energy through trees. And I have more stories on that, but that's why I like that tree picture behind me. Okay, I'm going to bounce off. Jamie can wrap anything up if anybody has any technical questions. It is just to remind you, Jamie, please talk about our 1999 program. We have hundreds of people.
Pulling it up now.
We have hundreds of, yeah, you're probably right, Kakashi, about Hitler. Hitler was an artist, my friend. Hitler was an artist before he became Hitler. So you're right that if someone could have guided him to using his brain. Okay, thank you, everybody. Again, have a totally awesome weekend. What do we have on tap? You have anything exciting on tap this weekend, Jamie?
This is going to be a chill weekend. I think my daughter just had the COVID shot yesterday, so she's not feeling well. So we will be relaxing, probably watching a lot of movies. So I'm happy that I have nothing planned.
Yeah. I am going to try to chill tonight. I really hope that I can pull it off. My daughter asked me, what are you doing tonight? Like, hopefully I'm going to be on the couch watching something because I haven't taken time to chill. Because tomorrow, I always talk about my besties. There's 3 couples, 2 of my best friend couples. My one friend, Jason, loves the Black Crowes. Yeah, I know many of you are too young. Honestly, I barely know any Black Crow songs. So check this out. He has gotten us to go to the Black Crowes concert. I don't even know where it is, but somewhere around here in Raleigh. Go to the Black Crowes concert, and it's expensive too, that I didn't really want to spend the money on. Hopefully, Jason, you know I'm going to have fun if you're watching. But anyways, we like to go to concerts together. We are going to a meet and greet. We paid extra to go meet the Black Crowes before the concert. So we have to leave for the concert tomorrow at 3 p.m. The concert's at like 8. So it is an all-day escapade of the Black Crowes. So I'm going to chill out tonight, hopefully, and tomorrow I'll be with my besties, and always ends up being a Black Crowes at the Greek. I would have loved that. Get Them to the Greek is one of my favorite movies ever. So I will be in concert mode this weekend, but we always have fun. Okay, thank you again, everybody. I gotta go with Fiona because I'm now, in fact, going to be late for my appointment, but this is one of my favorite places to be. So thank you for being so awesome. And Jamie, take it from here, and I will see you all soon. Have a great weekend.
All right, guys. So I did want to answer a question that I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. Philandico, Coco. Anyway, question for Dr. Leigh. What made you work in this field? So she has posted, and I'm going to share my screen. She has actually posted, it may not let me. Okay, you can see my screen. So she had a, on her website is, just a little bit more about her. And this is how she ended up getting into what she is doing now. Years ago, so this is her founder story. Years ago, if you would have asked me what I thought of porn, I wouldn't have even looked up from my desk. I didn't care either way because I didn't know of porn's harmful effects on the brains, people, and society. Then, on a hot July afternoon, frozen in front of me in my office was the effects of this devastating brain issue. I didn't even realize it at first. Here was one of my favorite patients, crippled with anxiety, depression, moodiness, brain fog, memory issues, and erectile dysfunction. That I also didn't know about. Suffering deeply. I had no choice but to figure out how to help. So, long story short, I started to do research on pornography consumption and its impact on the brain, thinking, mental health, and body. I could not believe what I discovered. I also couldn't believe that I did not know of porn's harms up until then. My mind was blown. I learned more. The more I needed to know, the more I needed to know, the more I knew, the more I wanted to help people who have been sucked in by porn and couldn't find their way back out without help. The hardest part at first was the information was so conflicting. I conferred with many professionals. Depending upon who I was talking to, some thought porn was fine. Others had no opinion, like I used to. And still others thought it was harmful. Then I discovered the truth. Porn is the number one way that compulsive sexual behavior disorder, as diagnosed in the International Classification of Diseases, 11th edition, displayed itself. What this means is many people, mostly men, have acquired an unhealthy relationship to pornography and sex and has created a disease mechanism in the brain performance that keeps its use going. The cause of CSBD is a combination of neuromechanism, genetics, mental health, environment, and socialization. So having earned multiple degrees and certifications, I felt perfectly poised to take my credentials one step further to help many people in need. After training under some leading professionals in sex addiction recovery field and recovering professional coaching certification, I began to work with hundreds of people who have been harmed by watching porn. In doing so, not only was I able to help my favorite patient and so many others, I have developed an integrated holistic approach informed by many aspects of science, therapy, and help. So basically, I just wanted to, read about how she got started and how this has really impacted her and the knowledge that she has. She has created the programs that she has based on her history with neuroscience, but all the research that she did to help this one patient, the programs that she developed, really does improve the brain performance and it is able to be seen in brain graphs. So Dr. Leigh does have mechanisms where she is able to view brain graphs and those are options in some of the programs that she has. One of the programs that is a special for only September is Quit Porn, Heal Your Brain, and Have Great Sex. So in this $19.99 program, you will learn the fundamental aspects of rebooting your brain from porn and learn how to perform better. So she will be able to help you build a foundation to succeed. It includes 10 lessons that are recorded by Dr. Leigh. These are short lessons. They're anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes long. So it's about 1 hour and 22 minutes of video recorded content with visuals. The visual supports groups and events, lifetime access to the program. There's downloadable, things that you can use. She will give you action steps. So to dive a little deeper in the program, this is the things that you will learn. So in lesson 1, it's the porn brain reboot approach. She talks about the Muse headband and how it's used, how your brain uses energy and how that affects you is a really powerful lesson. And obviously, lesson number 3, how porn hijacks your brain and why it's so hard to leave it behind. This is one of the hardest things you will ever have to do in your life. So lesson number 4, having to pass resolve trauma, rewire your porn brain and resolve past trauma. If you are not able to resolve, things that's happened in the past, it's really hard for you to move forward and thrive, because it gets stuck in the back of your brain, and you have to unwire that in order to rewire a new brain pattern in a healthier way, for you to be able to succeed. So that is, this is a very good lesson in her 90-day program. She really dives deep into the resolving past traumas, and it is an excellent lesson. But this being kind of an intro to the 90-day program, these are really powerful lessons. But lesson number 5, breaking the shame cycle. What is a pivot plan? Having a rough day, reboot plan. So, if you're having a bad day, this is a lesson on what you can do, things to be able to help you set up a defense, or set up a fence, in order to not, go back to the screen. Lesson 6, rewiring your brain. So how you're going to rewire your brain is the session. Lesson 7, brain training with or without technology. Lesson 8 is reboot your life to quit porn. And what reboot behaviors, what are those? Brain boosting activities and things like that she will talk about. Lesson 9, reboot healthy sexuality, rewire your brain for healthy sexuality. She'll talk about what is healthy sexuality and what isn't. And there's a really good diagram in there that really can give you some great information. Lesson 10 is integrity. What is integrity? Establish dignity and integrity. And lesson 11 is basically the wrap up of all of the lessons. She talks about our weekly Q&A sessions that we are on now. Her next level up, if you would like to move up once you have taken this, you are able to move up to the first program that she has, which is Quit Porn for Good for $49. And when you do that, we've provided you with a coupon code that gives you your money back for this $19.99 program. if you would like to move up to the 90-day program, then we will also provide you a code that will give you your money back and give you 15% off. So I just wanted to go over that with you because it is an absolutely wonderful program. And, Dr. Leigh is able to support you through this journey. The first two programs, unfortunately, are kind of they're programs that you kind of, do on your own. The 90-day program, you will get one consult with Dr. Leigh, and she will provide you great email support. So if you are struggling through something, she's there to help you, and she will help you get through whatever you are struggling with. Then her new program is coming out, that her new website, Dr. Trish Leigh, and they will also have 3 different levels. And we're really excited about that. So I hope you will be able to, join or at least take a look and see what it's about, because your brain is your biggest asset. And when you're able to control your brain, things in life just kind of fall in place. And Kyle says, can you explain the neurofeedback home training? So that's one of the aspects of her new website. And what that is you use the Muse. So once you purchase the Muse, you will be able to enroll in this program, and we will give you a login to a program that will help you with brain training in a Dr. Leigh can really, explain this a lot better than I can, but I'm just going to give you the basics. When you put the headband on, we will give you a login, and you will download this program. You will be able to watch YouTube videos while training your brain. You can play games while you're doing it, but it's very powerful, and it works kind of the same way that the Muse does. When you are in the zone and you are able to, really get in that place where it's where your brain is sending, positive signals that it's doing what it's supposed to, the audio will get soft, and you can do it with your eyes open, your eyes closed. There's many different ways. Dr. Leigh will set a protocol up for you for, it's a very personalized plan. It is a 4-month training, and it's $7.99 a month for 4 months, and you will have one-on-one coaching with Dr. Leigh. Each month, she will be able to view your brain graphs. She will show you, where you're running high and where you're running low, and be able to give you some takeaways to really help you succeed in that journey. And home neurofeedback is 98% effective. It is absolutely amazing. So if you have any questions about any of the programs that Dr. Leigh does offer, feel free to email me at jamie@drtrishleigh.com. That is, I'll type it in. I'll be glad to help answer any questions. I will, do my best to, answer, the questions that you do have. I will also put Dr. Leigh's website on here as well. So if you were interested in getting the Quit Porn for Good program, this is a direct link, so you can actually purchase that. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be glad to help. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for joining. We really do like these Q&As each week, and I hope we see you next week. Have a great day, thank you. All right, there's the link for the program. Y'all have a good weekend.